Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Today is April the 11th, 2024. I would like to start by saying happy Ramadan, Eid Mubarak for those celebrating. After fasting the whole month and hard dedication praying for yourself and for the peace of the world, you finally completed. So happy celebration, even though it came late because of busy lifestyle, but still I wish you a happy holiday. I ask you for your continued prayer for the people of Gaza, still under the threat of war. Israel is still threatening to take military action. The only place left in Gaza that is between Egypt and Palestine, which is Rafah. So they are still threatening to wage, to destroy the last remaining area, which is packed by millions of Palestinians who run away from all other Gaza towns and cities. So pray for them and pray for the challenging situation, for the tragic situation in Ethiopia too. So Ethiopia is, under very dangerous leadership and tragic news. War, destruction is an everyday occurrence now under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Prosperity Party. So I have one, already circulated in different social media, very tragic news coming from Ethiopia. Another Oromo iconic figure, very outspoken, very diplomatic, and also the one in belief free expression of debates, and also believe in competition and engagement without any armed struggle or confrontation. He was gunned down by Ethiopian government security forces in town called Meki. So this is a very tragic news, and such tragic news will keep coming to you as long as the killing squad or Kore Nagenya remains in power in Ethiopia under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Shimalis Abdissa, all these local, regional, and the federal forces coordinating this killing squad. So this such tragic news will continue as long as this team remain in power. So that's a very tragic news, very sad news. We have to report to you. It's very challenging, very sad, especially those in believing through peaceful engagement with prosperity, or debate through peaceful means, as Prosperity Party try to, indoctrinate Ethiopians. The field is open. Anybody can compete freely. You don't need to engage in military activities. It's open, and you can compete and win. That is a propaganda. But when it comes to reality, Prosperity Party, from local to federal, they have killing squad under the name of Korenagenya or Peace Committee, and they are carrying out all kind of intimidation, harassment, mass detention, property confiscation, killing, torture, all kind of stuff without any accountability. So Mr. Bate Urgessa is the latest victim of that killing squad in Ethiopia. So let's listen to this African news agency. Also, other media news also reported, BBC, ABC News, and others reported on the very, very tragic news. So thank you again for coming back. Let's listen to this one, and also I will share other news related to this, you know, reading from Addis Standard. Also, the U.S. government foreign relation has a statement on this one. So thank you. Okay, let's listen to this one.
Figure has been shot dead and his body found on the side of a road in his hometown in Meki, in the troubled Oromo region. Bate Urgessa, 41, was an outspoken critic of the government and had been jailed on several occasions. Family members told local news site, Addis Standard, people who looked like government security forces took him from his hotel room on Tuesday night. The Oromo regional government denied that security forces were involved. In recent years, Ethiopia has seen an increase in the killing of political and cultural figures. Mr. Bate was a senior official of the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, one of the biggest political parties in Ethiopia. The OLF condemned the brutal murder of Mr. Bate and said he was an eloquent, brave, and selfless Oromo soul. The unwarranted and extrajudicial killing of conscious and active Oromo political and cultural figures has been a systematic and irresponsible act of silencing the Oromo throughout years and decades, the statement said. His death has sparked outrage across social media, while human rights groups are demanding justice. Chief Commissioner of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, EHRC, Daniel Bekele posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the federal authorities need to hold perpetrators to account. Phone lines are cut off in the town, but it is unclear if the killing of Mr. Bate will trigger protests. Mr. Bate has been jailed several times in recent years, but has remained an advocate of nonviolent dissent. In February, security forces accused him of working to incite unrest. He was arrested while being interviewed by French journalist Antoine Galindo and later released on bail. Galindo was released after a week in jail and returned to Paris. The OLF boycotted the last general election in 2021, saying the political space was too narrow to operate. At the time, it accused the government of arresting several of its members, supporters, and leaders. The Oromo ethnic group is the largest in Ethiopia, but some of its leaders say they have suffered discrimination from the country's traditional elites. The OLF used to be an armed group, but laid down its weapons in 2018 after Abiy Ahmed, an ethnic Oromo, became prime minister. However, the OLF has since become disillusioned with Mr. Abiy.
In East Jerusalem, just before dusk, the Iftar.
Okay, that will be maybe the last video I have for you about the challenge in Gaza and the Ramadan celebration. So that is a tragic news concerning Bate Urgessa, senior OLF officer, and Prosperity Party has been threatening, arresting him, denying him medical treatment, torturing him. He survived all. He survived all these things, just like other political prisoners. But finally, they got him. Finally, they got him, and they shot him 6 times, and they throw his body on the road because they have been doing such things in the past without accountability. No accountability at all. They're gonna say we're gonna investigate, blah blah, but no investigation. Never happened in the case of other killings, including artist Hachalu Hundessa, Abdul Jabbar Hussein, and others. So this is keep coming, and the team we have in Ethiopia, the leadership we have in Ethiopia, never been punished for all the atrocities they carried out in Ethiopia, whether it come to the war in Tigray or the war in Oromia. No responsibility for the killing of those political figures, musicians, religious leaders, or chief of militaries. No accountability. They're just going for free, and the whole world is watching them, and just keep silent. So we'll see what's gonna happen, but this is another tragedy we have to report to you, and such tragedy will continue, as I said, as long as the killing squad, this Kore Nagenya, which is structured from local to the federal level, as long as it stays in power, we will, hear and report such tragic losses. So it's a very sad one. And Bate Urgessa, he did his part anyway. He fought hard. He challenged Prosperity Party on the stage, on a media. So this is, they just assassinated him to silence his voice. And this should tell us, all these, who are still supporting Prosperity Party, believing that there is a freedom in Ethiopia, and we have, our son in power. So he's the son of a Bagada or Oromos. No, we have a killing squad in Ethiopia, led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and coordinated with other federal officials, regional officials, and local militias. So this is the things we are facing in Ethiopia, and we need from international community, European Union, United States, UN, to do their investigation, not to be silent. They can do something. They can do something if determined. So we just beg them and ask them to do independent investigation to expose this killing squad, which comprise of federal police, intelligence officials, local militia forces, and regional government. So that's a tragedy. And let's listen. Let's read. What Addis Standard is saying. Some of them may be a repetition of this media, African News Agency. Let me read. And also, I have a statement from U.S. State statement of on the statement of the killing of Bate Urgessa. And the Oromia region, as usual, denied their government involvement. Oromia region strongly refutes reports implicating government forces in Bate Urgessa's killing. The Oromia regional government, in a statement released late Wednesday, condemned the killing of Bate Urgessa, a prominent Oromo political figure, and said, in quotation, ongoing propaganda to make the government responsible is not acceptable in any way. End of quotation. That's the Oromia regional government. They have to do it. That's the only way they can escape. But it's well known who is killing. The statement conveyed that Bate, political officer of the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, was killed by, in quotation, unidentified assailants in Meki town, adding that, again in quotation, whoever committed it, the act is totally unacceptable. That is Oromia regional government. The statement further accused, in quotation again, some political entities of trying to exploit the opportunity to make up for their political losses, in quotation, by making the government responsible for the killing. The government said it will announce to the public details of the killing of Bate Urgessa following the legal investigation process and strongly cautioned against spreading unsubstantiated claims. In quotation, it is impossible to attribute to anyone the responsibility for the killing until security forces investigate and announce it to the public. End of quotation, the statement added. They always said, as a normal government do, they just say they will conduct investigation and will announce to the public. But we know the government is the one killing those political figures. Meanwhile, the armed group Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, in a statement released on Wednesday evening, said Bate was, in quotation, taken from his room by security forces during midnight hours and executed point blank, end of quotation. It further accused government security forces of, in quotation again, preventing the recovery of his body and later inhibiting the conduct of further autopsy, end of quotation. So, okay, if the government is honest about this and if it's acting like independent, they don't have any reason to prevent autopsy and also prevent the recovery of the body. They just try to cover something up. They cram. So that's why they are preventing the body and preventing the autopsy. Addis Standard reported that Bate was shot dead on Tuesday night and his body was found dumped by the road early on Wednesday in his hometown Meki, East Shoa zone of the Oromia region. A family member told Addis Standard that Bate was taken out of his hotel room around midnight on Tuesday by a group of people who looked like government security forces, in quotation. And his body was found dumped by the road the next morning. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission earlier on Wednesday called for prompt, impartial, and full investigation into the killing by both the Oromia region and the federal authorities to hold perpetrators to account. Yes, they can say, but it is not possible to do all this independent investigation. The government is the one killing, carrying out these criminal acts, and the government is conducting this investigation. So it cannot be independent investigation for this one and for other crimes committed before. The opposition Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, has condemned what it called a brutal murder, in quotation, of its political officer Bate Urgessa, saying that it learned of the killing, in quotation, with agony and grave sadness, end of quotation, describing the late politician as eloquent, selfless, and brave Oromo soul, end of quotation. The statement failed short of naming perpetrators, but said the party is conducting further investigation into the killing. In quotation, we appeal to all human rights organizations and peace-loving people to undertake an immediate neutral and impartial investigation, end of quotation, it added. An outspoken politician, Bate Urgessa, was recently released from prison on 100,000 Ethiopian birr bail after he was detained for 2 weeks, accused of, in quotation, conspiring with two armed groups, the OLA Shane and the Fano militia, to incite unrest in the capital, end of quotation. He was apprehended by security forces alongside French journalist Anthony Galindo while conducting an interview at Skylight Hotel in Addis Ababa on 22nd February 2024. Previously, he spent years in and out of detentions on several occasions. During one of his latest imprisonments, he had encountered a serious health issue while in police custody, leading to his release. Bate spoke of a harrowing experience during his detention in several informal detention centers in towns like Mojo, near his hometown, Awash Malka, Galan, Sabata, and Burayo, all in Oromia regions. Credit Addis Standard. So that is, the tactics, the well-known tactics of Prosperity Party and this Korenagenya or Peace Committee, how they treat prisoners and political figures. They just moving them illegally from, from place to place and keep them in, unknown locations because there is no responsibility. There is no responsibility. They can take them, as you can see, different cities and different jails, including the military camp, Awash Arba. If you listen to the last week testimony of those Amara politicians, MEPs, members of parliament, these are very, government officials, because they challenge the prime minister in, in public forum, in parliament discussion. They are now the target of this killing squad, and led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So the things they describe, what happened to them in jail, is really mind-blowing. It's excessive abuse of justice in Ethiopia. And those interviews should be translated and given to international community, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, United Nations, U.S. State Department. Others should receive the translation of these tapes. The interview of MEPs Christian Tadele and also another MEP Johannes Bayalo, representing the Amara region, and the one Christian Tadele representing Amara National Movement. So it's really horrible what they described in that interview, not interview, in court hearing. They have been denied proper medication, given spoiled food, forced to sleep with dead bodies and graveyard, insult crossing, to the general public, insulting the Amaras. This is very bad for Oromos. It's very bad, treating people in such way under Oromo leadership. is a bad legacy, really, insulting the general public, the Amaras. It's not good legacy, but Prosperity Party is conducting, and this Korenagenya or Peace Committee are carrying out all these atrocities, and denying all proper court hearing, family visits, all kind of and abuses, and moving them from place to place, including keeping them in extremely hot, prison cells. This is against international law, so it should be translated and given to international community, Amnesty International or Human Rights or U.S. State Department. All should receive this. I hope somebody will do that. Translate it all the hearing they given in the court. So that is the situation we have in Ethiopia, and such horrible things will continue as long as Prosperity Party led by Abiy Ahmed stays in power, and injustice will continue, and the killing of politicians and other ordinary people, members of different party members, will continue. And if they treat MPs in such a way, what do you think about these ordinary political supporters, or just members? So if they treat MPs, these are the government officials, members of parliament, treated like this, with extremely dangerous tactics, torture. So let me read another one on the killing of the Bate Urgessa. This one is Chair Cardin statement on the killing of Bate Urgessa in Ethiopia. This is from U.S. Senator Ben Cardin, Democrat, Maryland, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, issued a statement following the killing of Bate Urgessa, a leader of the Oromo Liberation Front in Maki in Oromia. In quotation, it says, "The killing of Bate Urgessa on Tuesday night was shocking and upsetting. I offer my deepest condolences to the family for their loss and urge Ethiopian authorities to allow a credible, neutral international body to conduct a thorough investigation into Mr. Bate's death. Extrajudicial killings, harassment, and political repressions have for far too long been commonplace in Oromia. The Abiy regime has clamped down on political opposition, the media, and dissent. And dissidents, not only in Oromia, but throughout Ethiopia, contributing to the country's widespread insecurity and overall instability. It is past time for those responsible for the policy of repression and abuse to be exposed and held accountable for their actions." End of quotation. So yeah, that is from U.S. State Foreign Relations Committee Chairman, Mr. Ben. So we appreciate. That means the international community are watching the situation in Ethiopia, and the United States is watching. I didn't hear from European Union. I hope they are also maybe releasing similar statement or stronger statement on the killing of Bate Urgessa in Ethiopia under Prosperity leadership, under Korenagenya. This killing squad must be exposed and must brought to justice if Ethiopia to gain its security and stability. So we appreciate the U.S. Foreign relation. Please do more. the United States can do much better than, releasing a statement is good, but they can do much better to change the situation in Ethiopia. They can support opposition political figures, and they can also encourage those working with Prime Minister to, to abandon him, to abandon military officials and those senior political officials. Yeah, the United States can do if they determine. But so we need to push for further action, not only releasing a statement, but we need further action to make Ethiopia is a better place for Ethiopians first, then for the global community. So that's the plea from concerned citizens media plus the United States. Please, releasing statement is good, but it should be followed by action. We need your support. We need your support and to expose these killers, this killing squad led by Prime Minister Abiy. This is a failed government we have in Ethiopia. It's already a failed. They're just waging two wars for survival and killing all these, conducting all these atrocities, just for prosperity survival, not for Ethiopians' benefit, just for these party members and senior officials. This is from U.S. State Department on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. This is a press statement. Antony J. Blinken, Secretary of State, April 9, 2024. As we near the end of the holy month of Ramadan, I wish Muslim communities everywhere Eid Mubarak and join in hopes for a safer and more peaceful world. As families and communities come together, we know they do so at a time when many Muslim communities worldwide are suffering. Our thoughts turn to the plight of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, civilians in Syria, women suffering under the Taliban in Afghanistan, Uyghurs in the People's Republic of China, Rohingya in Burma and Bangladesh, and far too many others. Far too many have lost loved ones over the past year, and many more are concerned for the safety and security of their families today. I hope that this year's Eid al-Fitr marks a moment on a path to more hopeful, free, and peaceful times ahead. The United States is committed to standing up for human rights for people around the world, to providing humanitarian aid where it is desperately needed, and to working to bring about enduring peace, dignity, and safety for all communities. So that is a statement from Antony J. Blinken on the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. We appreciate the United States statement, but when it comes to Gaza, they didn't act almost for 5 months. You remember, they keep vetoing UN resolution calling for ceasefire. So the Muslim community is extremely saddened by that action from Biden administration. So that's a tragedy. But we appreciate for releasing this statement on Eid al-Fitr. So that's all I have for today, and maybe one more video on Gaza and end today's presentation.
Our cannon was prepared for the final time this year. The explosion echoed across the city, and Palestinians broke the fast for the last time on one of the most subdued holy months in memory. It's not like other years. We're getting by without celebrations. In Gaza, the fighting continued like any other day over the last 6 months. As Ramadan was drawing to a close, dozens were killed. These children were rushed by ambulance to hospital. Today, the Israeli military confirmed it had killed 3 of Ismail Haniyeh's sons in Gaza City. This is the moment the Hamas leader found out. Haniyeh lives in exile in Doha. He said Israel is deluded if they think that this would put pressure on Hamas to agree a deal. Even in Gaza, amid the darkness of war, the colour and joy of Eid can bring a brief respite from months of fighting. This festival is a moment for families and a time to mark the end of a month of fasting. But in Gaza this Ramadan, families have been torn apart, and the decision to eat or not wasn't always a choice when hundreds of thousands were starving. At this school in Rafah, where hundreds are sheltering, some of the men dressed as clowns to entertain the children.
I do my best to try and bring back their smiles and joy in their hearts.
6 months of war has removed any innocence of youth, but the sight of Bugs Bunny can still bring a smile to a small face. Asha is 12. Her father was killed in the war. This is their first Eid without him.
I lost my dad and I lost my cousin. I wish I could see them. I want to be happy and go back to having joy in our lives. I want to go back to my home. We want the old days back. We were living happy, well fed, we had water. Now we have nothing at all. At all.
Fadia fries her children some aubergine slices on a stove outside their small tent. The memory of past Eids are of no comfort now.
We stayed in our homes, we had the best food and drink, and gave our kids delicious meals with meat and took them to the fun fair. We made cake, sweet treats, coffee, and our loved ones would visit. Our happiness was so much more than this. Nothing like this extremely difficult situation.
Yet again, hopes of a ceasefire are fading, and the prospect of more fighting and more killing lies ahead. If Eid has given some in Gaza even a short moment of escapism, a brief chance to forget war, then it is only that, brief.
Okay, that is the tragedy the Palestinians are facing under Israeli Prime Minister, genocidal war conductor Benjamin Netanyahu is a criminal, and even he is not welcomed by Israelis. They are calling for his removal and fresh election, but he's killing and destroying Palestinian lives and completely eradicating the Palestinians' hope for two-state solution. He's still threatening to go to Rafah with, with weapons and other means provided by Europeans and the United States. He is threatening, saying, we have the timetable to go to Rafah, where millions of Palestinians are sheltering. Just pray so that he will not be successful in carrying out another killing. He already killed more than 34,000 plus Palestinians and completely destroyed the Palestinian cities, all buildings. That's a tragedy. We have to deal with it and keep your prayer for peace and stability in that region. Plus, I urge you to help the Bate Urgessa family. First in your prayer, then in donating whatever you can for the family and for his funeral expenses. There is one organization in the United States, Macha Tulama, is collecting fund to help his family. So if you can, use Zelle or Cash App to donate to machatulama@gmail.com. This is legally established organization in the United States collecting fund for this one and Wallo Oromos too. So please do your part, and he sacrificed on behalf of Oromos causes. So we need to do a little bit, our part in carrying out the torch. He started, and in also providing comfort to his family. And this will, such tragedy, as I said, will continue as long as one-party system exists in Ethiopia. That is the Prosperity Party, well organized by this Korenegenya killing squad. So we have to cry to the global community to expose and bring those criminal committee members to justice. These are organized from local level, regional level, and at federal level, led, guided by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So we need to keep advocating for elimination of this killing squad and for bringing them to justice for all the killings, all the tortures, all the abuses, for all injustices they have been carrying out in Ethiopia, and also pray to end the war in Ethiopia. There is no hope in Ethiopia. There is no hope as long as this prime minister stays in power. And he is not living just like his predecessor, Haile Mariam Dessare, who was in much better position than this prime minister. He gave up, opened up a chance for this Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who gave us so many promises. Now everything is thrown into the toilet under his leadership. All of the promises broken, and Ethiopia became the land of killing, torture, destruction, and dissemination. So pray for the better, and that's all I'm going to say for today. And please advocate, do whatever you can to raise awareness about Ethiopia to United States and European Union, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, UN, any organization. If you have a social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you have, just be a voice for a better world. That's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back, hopefully, with a better news. But nothing is better. Lastly, I forgot to say, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed also ordered the auctioning of one Amara richest guy property to be auctioned. Anchor Media reported that I think his name is Worku Aitanau. This guy was, a strong supporter of Prosperity Party during the war against the Tigrayan people. Now he is forced to flee the country, and now his property is, ordered by Prime Minister to be auctioned, and the fund law is, announced serious warning on this situation, especially concerning Zaman Bank. They threaten Zaman Bank if they carry out this auction. So they're threatening to take over Zaman Bank wherever they have branch in Amara region, and they are calling on Amaras not to work in Zaman Bank. So that is a new thing I have received from Anchor Media. Nobody is safe under Prosperity Party, under Abiy Ahmed, except those who are core members, core supporters of his policy. Those who are still believing he's the son of a Bagada, Oromos. Some Oromos are, still want to stay with him, work with him, do business with him, even though they know all the abuses, injustice happen against their own friends, family members, or Oromos, but they don't care. Some are just greedy of selfishness and try to get a shortcut to be rich. So they're, openly and secretly supporting Prosperity Party, making business with him instead of challenging him, and instead of exposing him, for his killing, for his mass detention, harassment, excessive abuse, injustices. So many Oromo politicians are free by the court, still in custody because of the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and this killing squad against the country's constitutions. So that's the reality of Ethiopia. Be safe. So long, everyone.